Hello and welcome to the PhotoVidShow tutorials version 4.41. In this tutorial we're going to talk about panning and zooming. Now, what is panning and zooming? Here I have my slideshow here, and when I preview it, as you can see, automatically PhotoVidShow adds this kind of pan effect here. So I'm previewing my slideshow and it slowly zooms out before going to the next slide, and here it goes from slowly right to the left. This is called panning and zooming. By default, if you don't want this effect to automatically apply to your slides, you can untick this option here. It's enable auto pan and zoom. If you don't want that, when we preview our slideshow, it just shows the photos one after another. Okay, I'm going to turn that back on because this tutorial is really talking about this, and specifically we're talking about actually customizing the pan and zoom. So say we preview there and say, well, that's nice, but that's not the pan and zoom effect we want to do, or perhaps we want to pan and zoom on the rings or something like that. So how do we customize this further? So if we left click on a slide we wish to customize further with our pan and zooming, and select the pan and zoom tab on the left. As you can see, PhotoVidShow then shows you these two rectangles here. One's red and one's green. The green one says start region and the red one says end region. This shows you the area on your slide that it will start showing the slide from, and the red region shows you where it will end. So you can see it will start zoomed in and then end slightly zoomed out, so you should have this slightly zoomed out effect. As you can see, it's previewing it here. So if you want to change the start and end regions, you can, if you just left click on the rectangles, you can move them about. And also these little yellow things at the side, and that enable you to change the size of it. So if I put it there, left click and hold, as you can see, I can now change where the start region is here. So all the time this is going on, this is all previewed here, so you can see that's where it starts and that's where it ends. The slide is 8 seconds long, as you can see, so it takes 8 seconds more or less to do this. So perhaps you want to change the end region, so it's over here, and you can also add rotation as well. Say you want to, so you can see that you can play around this until you're happy with what you want. So we've got this like rotation effect going on here. You could also, you don't have to manually change them from here, you can also just set the same values here, so you can make things bigger and smaller. Sometimes if it's 100%, so if we had a start region 100%, you can't really move it about or resize it, so sometimes you have to decrease the size here before you can then move it about. Similarly, you can change the rotation there, and you can just play around with these two rectangles, start region, end region, to create these sort of pan and zoom type effects. Now, if you don't want pan and zoom for a particular slide, I know you can turn it off in the spanner option down here, but that really applies to the whole slideshow. If you just want to turn it off for a particular slide, say this first one you don't want pan and zoom in at all, you can just select tick that and it just turns it off, as you can see. So when we preview our slide, it's just static. So that's fine. Also, perhaps you do want it on, but you don't like the effect PhotoVidShow automatically has applied. So if you select random, it will just do some random effects that you think may work. As you can see, in general, it tries to select the start and end regions within the borders of the picture, because so you don't see any black area. So when I preview it, you don't see any black areas. That's what PhotoVidShow does by default. If I select another picture, as you can see, it will, and generally it will try and keep the start and end regions within the size of the picture. What can be quite useful in this situation, I won't show you now, but if you had a video, you can still apply pan and zoom to a video, but normally this is turned off because it normally doesn't make sense to apply pan and zoom to a video. But what you can do if you do have it is, maybe I will add a video Let's see if we got one. Okay, we've added a video here. So you can see pan and zoom's automatically turned off. If I was to turn it on, what you can actually do is a crop of the video, because by default you can't crop videos in PhotoVidShow, but there's a sneaky way of doing it. So if I was to do this and set the start and end region to be identical, there we go. We'll just line this up so they're the same. This is going a bit slow because I'm encoding the video. There we go. So if we now preview that video, so we've provided like a crop effect to the video. So that's a little useful trick to know. So I'm going to remove that. Now going back to this slide here. Also what you can do is, normally the pan and zoom in goes throughout whilst the slide is showing for, but say you want it to just pause for a while and then do the pan and zoom and then pause for a bit longer. So not continuously pan and zoom in like that, but just sections of panning and zooming. What you can do is set the start pan time and end pan time. So this is an 8-second long slide, so if I set it from 2.6 seconds to say something like that, so between time 2.6 and 5.3 it's pan and zooming. Before then it's not panning and zooming, after it's not panning and zooming. So when I preview my slide it's static, and then it applies the pan and zoom, and then it stops again. Now whilst it does that movement, you can set the movement type. I believe default is normal linear. That kind of works whilst the start and end times are right at the end of the slide. So when you have something like that, it's just constantly moving at a constant rate, the panning and zooming. But when you have this, when you set the start times and end times, you actually want it non-linear. It looks a little bit better. As you can see, it sort of speeds up there, and then we're at constant rate, and then it slowly slows down. It's very subtle, but you would notice the difference if I was to put it back to linear. It just kind of looks a bit more jerky like that. So it's best to have that. Also, you can set it to, there are effects like a spring effect, which is, you'll see here, it kind of just springs to new position. Or we have something called quick slow, where it quickly moves in, and then the last part of it, it's slow. It's called quick slow. There we go, like that. There we go. It's a sort of quick, rapid movement in that direction. Okay, what I'll show you to do next, which involves this button here, set start region to previous end slide region. What is all that about, you're saying? Well, I will show you what you can do. Say for example, we go back here and we want an effect where we want to first pan and zoom slowly into that ring, but then after we've panned and zoomed around this, looking at that ring, we want to pan and zoom onto this ring. So we want to apply maybe multiple pan and zooms at the same time. So that can be achieved in PhotoVidShow if you know what to do, and I'll show you now how to do that. So what you can do is, just bear with me, if you click on that slide, right click on it and select duplicate slide. So we've now got two slides identical. So when we preview it, it's just going to show the same slide twice. So it's just showing it twice. Now, in that box in the middle here is the transition effects between the two slides. We want to set that to none. So I'm going to left click on it, select custom, and select no transition effect. Okay. So what that does is there is now no transition effect when it goes between those two slides. As you can see, it's just one after another. Right. Now on the first slide here, I'm going to select some start region like this, and I'm going to select my end region on that ring there. So we'll go back to the smooth non-linear. So as you can see, it slowly pans into the first ring. So that's the effect we want on the we then want it to pan across to the second ring. So what I simply do is then left click on the second slide here, and this is the trick. You select set start region to previous slide end region. Now I left click there, and it's automatically set that start region to the previous slide end region. And then I can set my end region to my second ring now. So what that has done is it's seamlessly joined these two slides together, because where that slide ends, this one begins, and they look identical, so you can't spot the difference. So if I now preview it, you can see it's panned and zoomed onto the first ring, it's paused. Oh, I got quick slow now. I got quick slow on it. So let's do that, and let's decrease that delay a little bit as well, like so. Let's try it again. So we've panned and zoomed onto the first ring. It's paused, and then it's panned and zoomed onto the second ring, as you can see. There we go. So that's how you can do effects like that. Now, out of interest, if you look at some of these design templates, like these pinboard ones, for example, you can see it applies these type of effects for you. So this is how some of these templates were originally created. But in effect, they're just lots of panning and zooming, as you can see. But they use that trick I've just showed you. So there you go. I hope you've learnt a lot from today. I've shown you how to do lots of panning and zooming type effects and all sorts of clever tricks to do multiple pan and zooms at once. I'll see you soon for the next tutorial.